Final Fantasy XVI is another big departure for the series, with this entry going all in on real-time action combat. Instead of half-assing it like they did with 15, this time Square was fully committed to delivering a high-quality action game. So much so that they brought over the combat designer of Devil May Cry 5. Stingers, air juggles, enemy step, and much more. Right from the start, the inspiration was very clear. Now of course, this wasn't the only big name attached to the project. Along with a group of experienced creative leads, the game's producer was none other than Naoki Yoshida, aka Yoshi-P, the man who single-handedly saved Final Fantasy XIV and is still carrying it on his back to this day. Okay, I know I'm being a bit hyperbolic here, but fans of 14 absolutely love this man. Somehow, him and his team took the failure that was base 14 and transformed it into arguably one of the greatest MMOs ever produced. For the higher-ups at Square, this level of success was enough to warrant giving him and his team complete control over the next numbered entry. In the lead up to its release, Yoshida stated that he wanted to return Final Fantasy to its must-buy status, by delivering a truly next-gen title with top-of-the-line graphics, gameplay, and story. Given the pedigree of the people involved here, this all felt genuinely attainable. And because of that, there was a lot of excitement and optimism surrounding the game. Speaking for myself, this was easily the most excited I've been for a modern Final Fantasy game, with 16 becoming one of my most anticipated releases of this year. So, with all this out of the way, let's now answer the question. Did Final Fantasy XVI live up to the hype? Well, sort of. You see, while FF16 is a decent game in its own right, it doesn't exactly reach the levels of greatness that some of us may have been hoping for. Sure, we do get some flashes of brilliance here and there, but we also get some moments that feel incredibly dated and just outright boring. Looking online, I'm not alone when I say the game was just too easy. Even without healing items and abilities like Will-o-the-Wisps, my first playthrough was an absolute joke. For whatever reason, the game's hard mode is only selectable after a full playthrough, a decision that just doesn't make any sense to me. DMC5 also had this problem, but it's made a lot worse here with 16's longer runtime. Clocking in at around 35 hours, while this does fall in line with the rest of the series, action games are typically a lot shorter in order to have better replayability and tighter pacing. Like the other modern Final Fantasy games, 16 instead prioritizes spectacle, scale, and again, length. The end result is a game that feels pretty bloated by action game standards, making us wait hours between unlocking new icon abilities, and forcing us to sit through these boring, unskippable QuickTime events. Unfortunately, 16 seems to be suffering from a bit of an identity crisis, where it doesn't want to fully commit to being an action game, even after making so many sacrifices on the RPG side of things. Looking back at Yoshida's stated vision for the game, 16 actually does deliver in many aspects. Graphically, the game looks incredible, and is one of the few modern releases that feels truly next-gen. The gameplay, while incredibly easy, can still be a lot of fun when the game lets you pop off. And then of course there's the story, which might not be all that complex. It is a big step up from the rest of the series for actually being complete and comprehensible.
Destiny is destiny.
What does that mean?
16 currently sits at a respectable 87 on Metacritic. Before Spider-Man 2, it was the fastest selling PS5 exclusive, and despite Square's often unrealistic sales expectations, it looks like they're still somewhat satisfied with these results. As covered in this video by Final Fantasy Union, trying to paint 16 as some sort of failure would just straight up be lying. That being said, when it comes to quality, many of us, including Yoshida himself, have set the bar pretty high. Again, looking at the sentiment online, I'm not alone when I say the game just didn't meet those expectations. Final Fantasy XVI definitely had a lot going for it, but in my opinion, it just did not come together in a satisfying way.